3 of us.
How can this be?
Bear is driving?
The prophecy.
Again, it is the fucking. I mean,
What?
I don't know.
I thought this was the Jaunty Mantis podcast.
It is the Jaunty Mantis podcast, a podcast of creative questions for curious gamers. Hi, I'm Jesse.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Chris.
That's right.
Much like the mighty Triforce, we have united the 3, and now Ganondorf. I don't know much about Zelda.
Just want to make weird political references regarding Ganondorf, but we're trying not to talk about him these days, you know?
That's right.
It's probably for the best. Add him to the list of he who shan't be named, Ganon. Oh, I named him again. Fuck. Hey, Chris, what have you been doing in gaming lately?
Oh, man. I did get to game. I ran my monthly Spelljammer game after a 2-month break. We had ended the session before I slapped down a big, dumb Halloween bone spider. So they had to face the bone spider. And they ended up riding the bone spider by the end of the session because why not? It's a fantasy world of space magic.
Yeah, that's what makes role-playing games fucking awesome, where you can end up riding the bone spider.
That's the name of my sex tape.
I was going to say.
I did plagiarize it from that, Jesse. I'm sorry.
What was the session name you sent me after you had named it?
Oh, man. Well, I also got attacked by the shot monster, who shall not be named.
Okay.
But I will pull that up while you tell me what your latest gaming news is.
I want to hear Matt's latest gaming news.
Oh, that's my turn. Yes, Jesse and Chris, let me ask you a question. Have you ever received a bid from a GM to find an alternate path through an unlikely combat scenario in which you could possibly influence things for better results? And you take a moment to think, yes, but my character wouldn't do that, so I'm not going to take the bid, when you know you should take the bid because you're a GM and you run games and you should be a supportive player. Well, I chose not to take the bid.
I was there for that.
Sold it.
Yeah. We, in our Rifts Chaos Earth game, it's a complete role-playing guy, by the way. The game mother, Patrick, offered us a path forward by negotiating with a meatball demon in order to bypass a potential massacre with an exuberant couch fucker of a pastor and his congregation at the end of the world, because it's Rifts. And and I did not take the meatball demon up on its offer because my OCC is Demon Hunter, not Demon Negotiator. So maybe I fucked us. I don't know. Jesse, you're in that game. Did I fuck us?
I mean, I threw to you on that one because I'm like, his OCC is Demon Hunter. He knows things about demons, I assume. So we'll just let him handle the negotiation. And the negotiation did not go well for that poor little demon. And came back for a second attempt. I know you're biased against the demon, being a demon hunter, as we've already covered. I'm just happy because I got to roll 30d6 as I fired off a salvo of missiles at those same meatball demons before the
I'm gonna have to give my character another once over because he does not have rotating laser guns on his immense armor, and he cannot point his finger and shoot a laser at a couch fucker of a pastor while he's attempting to manipulate his congregation into attacking us. And I do not have a horde of horrifically smiling robots at my command. So I may need to give my character another once over because it seems very lacking.
Yeah, but you can think like a demon. Like I read that in the OCC description. You can get into the headspace of that little meatball and be like, I know what you're about.
Then I definitely need to reread a few things because I opted for the shoot first, ask questions later option. I don't know.
I mean, I did too, and I blew up part of the path leading to the Battle of Boomtown's back.
That's right, Chris. We fought an entire combat on Jesse's character's giant mech suit's back.
Amazing.
As he was attempting to be a bridge for us to cross over
this is what
an
I'm
area
here for.
he destroyed.
Yes, with that missile salvo where I rolled 30d6 damage for dice. That was good times.
Yeah, I love RPGs with deformable terrain. Sorry.
Yeah, people say Palladium has a balance problem. I don't see it. So what have I done in RPGs? The Dragonlance game is what I played most recently last week. And man, we did like a speed run because there's a bunch of mini dungeons, if you will, in this game. And so they're going up this tower that controls this flying city, and they get to the top and revealed that the commander of the dragon army isn't a cleric at all. It's actually a blue dragon. And that's where we ended for dramatic effect. But we've got a Knight of Solamnia with an actual Dragonlance restored now. So I expect that fight's going to be very satisfying for them as a party. Maybe not so much for me, but they're going to lance a dragon.
You got to do what it says on the box.
That's right.
That'd be like if you were playing in the Forgotten Realms and then you forgot a realm, like where you actually like intone into the story, the name of the campaign setting. They're going to lance a dragon.
So I've been doing it correctly because I don't know the names of any of the realms in Forgotten Realms.
Watch out. I'm going to dark a sun here. I'm just going to, punch it right in the eye.
There you go.
I think you have to undark the sun in that one.
Yes.
But the two moons, Rowling Gathay. Okay, sorry.
The spider session was Bone Riz and Harmony.
Yes,
nice.
That's right.
That's the only note I took for the evening. So
then you did it right. Name.
I responded by, I think, have you seen any of the people that put text to the Bone Thugs and Harmony, their hit? Have you seen any of those? Oh, it's great because you hear it. It's just like one of the lines when they put text to it, it sounds like they're saying, I got a poop of gods on it. Like in that. Yeah. It's pretty wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'll have to watch that again sober.
What are we prepping for in the next week? Anybody prepping for anything?
Oh, I'm attempting to prep something. I think our topic tonight ties into it because now that I have a child named after an obscure Star Wars character, still want to run games for our group, but I can't do the 1-20 game anymore. I wanted to do more story, a long-term campaign, lots of prep. That was kind of the appeal of it. I can't do that anymore, at least not in the foreseeable future. So I've been trying to come up with ways to do like episodic pulpy vignettes that involve, the player characters. And they're really the only constant. It has kind of like the pulp fiction kind of aspect where you don't know where these adventures line up in the chronology of things. You don't necessarily know that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's not really important. And so I wanted to kind of run games like that for the group where whenever somebody who's running a game like Chaos Earth and then they're like, I need a break. I'm like, cool, I got 3 to 5 sessions. Let's roll. So I've been doing a lot of the initial prep work for that, which I hope will make a series of later episodes because I'd love to get your guys' opinion on some of the things I've been working on with that.
Cool. And again, I think it was really brave for you to name your son after the warrior caste Yuzon Vong. Savong right. La. I just think hats off.
I thought it was Max Rebo. I'm sorry.
No, it was guys. It's Dash Rendar. Okay, can we just end it right now?
Okay,
it's Dash Rendar.
Sorry. Well, then I retract my kudos because Yuzon Vong, you cowards. That's all I got to say. Disney was afraid of it. The idea is so good that Disney,
they had to make it sea canon.
Yeah. They killed Chewbacca with a moon. Spoilers for a thing that was, not relevant anymore in any way, shape, or form. Like what I've been prepping for. No, I got my vampire game this week. It is a vampire week. And unfortunately, a lot of my players are going to have to miss out. We're starting to get into the dreaded holiday hiatus. So I have given them writing homework to write, hey, here's a question, write your response. And I'm excited to see that come in. One of the things that I really like. There's so many things I like about Vampire 5th Edition, but the Touchstone system, which is every character creates and basically what is it, a conviction, or like between 1 and 3 convictions. You have to have one. And a conviction is sort of like a moral operating principle, like never betray a trust, or like family is everything, that acts in the moral mechanics of the game as a kind of a get out of jail free card. If you really do something vile, but in defense of your conviction, it doesn't stain your soul as much. You still get some stains, but like, you know, if you murder someone to protect your family and your conviction is family is everything, then it's not going to be as detrimental to you long term. And with each conviction, you have to create a mortal human NPC that's your touchstone, who represents that conviction. And so one of the things you get to do, of course, then as you're running the game, is to make them run into their touchstones or be face to face with them as horrible monsters in ways that the, you know, human NPC doesn't know are probably terribly dangerous for them and pretty inimical to their long-term survival. So Lauren, who's playing this Nosferatu, Stephanie Meyer pastiche character, like one of her touchstones is her like eldest daughter who's going to show up in Galveston looking for her. And so her writing prompt question, I can't wait to hear the answer to, is like, what's your reaction when you start seeing missing posters going up on light poles in Galveston with your daughter's phone number on it?
Oh man. It's very good.
I'm excited.
I love how vampire is like the polar opposite of heroic fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, like they really nailed it. Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I've always loved Vampire. I've loved the mythos. I've loved the setting. But what V5 lets you do is not what you did in the old version. Like, the old version is like, this is what this game is about. All the things I just talked about. And then here's the rules for Dragon's Breath shotgun rounds.
Right.
And like Uzis. Like, I'm like, well, what is this moral arc if like you're just telling me like everybody carries a shotgun with Dragon's Breath rounds and they battle? I'm like, okay. The mechanics for this one lean into that whole thing. You're not superheroes with fangs. This sucks. Let's have fun telling a story about it sucking to be a monster.
Wow. And those were unintentional puns right there when you said this sucks?
Yeah, that was actually entirely unintentional.
Okay.
I'm still stuck on trying to make a Vampire the Masquerade portmanteau with Fast and the Furious for the vampire reference. But
didn't they already do that with the family? Like, have you not seen the like that's what you know, like Critical Role people are critters. People that are fans of LA by Night are family.
Hell yeah. Which
there you go.
I wish that made me cringe, but it doesn't. I'm like, oh, it's kind of catchy. Good for them. Good for them.
I'm hoping to return to my Sunday brunch game this weekend, where we left off in a very dynamic situation involving a frog musketeer up on a skeletal shark suspended in a kind of museum-like chamber in a very wealthy evil person's home. Our necromancer had animated a bunch of skeletons that had been on display. The frog's about to use his gun for the first time. He's very excited. This should be quite the shit show.
Is this evil? Well, yeah, you're doing this in Rollmaster, so good luck looking up those tables. Yeah, indeed. They're going to die from firing their own weapon. That's the best part about Rollmaster. Is this evil rich guy, is he the one responsible for imprisoning that dragon in the law court in that one town?
No, that's completely unrelated.
That dragon will be free.
Yeah. I mean, it is for now. If we get to play more, you know.
Okay.
You got to glom onto whatever the players are excited about. So I think the campaign ends with Grumbum like riding on the back of the dragon.
Just yelling Falcor
stories.
Yeah. Chasing bullies down an alley. So they have to jump into like a garbage bin.
Do, 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 do.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's my kid's favorite part of that movie.
It's so good.
All right. Well, that's what we're prepping. So the question for today is, have you heard I know you have because I sent you links, but did you get to read the Open Table Manifesto? Keeping with the tradition of being really timely with our shit. The Open Manifesto is from the Alexandrian.net from 2016, blog by Justin Alexander.
Basically yesterday.
Okay.
Yep. And isn't it in reference to something he did in 2011?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's an expansion of something he did in 2011.
We're a very modern, community-focused podcast here. We're on the bleeding edge of what's happening in the gaming community.
If you saw something cool happen 9 years ago, tell us about it in an email at jauntymantis@gmail.com.
RPGs are evergreen content as far as I'm concerned. I'm still using books from the 80s and 90s, you know?
Did you read something cool on the Forge in 2005? We'd love to hear about it.
But keep it brief.
So yeah, the Open Table Manifesto. Do you want me to explain, or do you guys read it?
Why don't you explain it, Jesse? It's your topic.
Okay. So the Open Table Manifesto is basically written with the idea of, if you want to have a big stable of players, then you need to open up your table. The article makes an argument that the original D&D was designed with an open table in mind and cites some sources for that. But what that open table means is you are not necessarily worried about a long-term story of a directed with a same group of 5 people. It's just like, we have this big pool of players. This is when I'm free to play. Who's in? This is my cap. All right, we're going to go. And then you go do a couple hexes in a hex crawl and then head back to base, or you do a level of a mega dungeon or part of a mega dungeon, come back to base. It's just whoever's got whatever adventure prepared. And that is very much how I played when I started playing when I was like 10. And you know, I kind of liked it as just a general idea. What did you guys think?
Initially it felt kind of icky. I cannot lie. I have the opposite gamer origin story than you. Gaming was always a very close-knit, tight, small group kind of thing. It was very difficult to bring other people in it. Like, you know, I'm not trying to claim some sort of like malign childhood of any kind, but I was picked on for being like a nerdy kid, and I would never mention playing Dungeons and Dragons ever. And that carried in with me to being an adult. That's how Jesse and I became friends, because he was very like open and exuberant about being into D&D and gaming. And I thought that was really cool, because I was like, oh my God, don't fucking tell people we play D&D. That's terrible, which sounds ridiculous now in the world we live in now, but that's how it was back then. So the idea of bringing in like people you don't know and trust, that like maybe the other people in the group didn't approve of, that could potentially be toxic or destroy your group dynamic, like that kind of makes me feel really gross. But once I got past those feelings of grossness, I thought this was a really, really cool idea. And but that's my opening. Chris, what did you think?
It was familiar in a sense. I did my Acquisitions Incorporated Skullport game online during the quarantine. Jesse got to take part with another Grumbumpum. And I was just counting, we had 11 participants in that, which is not huge, but it was 4 to 5 people at a time, and they had to kind of sign up. And it was semi-successful. You know, we played a good 10, 12 sessions, I think, before everybody got busy with other things.
Yeah, I think one of the things I thought as I was reading it is the way that you run games in like our little OKC community is probably the closest I know to a current real life experience. Because, you know, you have games where it's okay to have a rotating cast of characters and you'll throw out a who can play this day, and then people show up and play with what they will. And what's really interesting is you're doing that with 2 systems, Rollmaster and Wrath and Glory, and Rollmaster does not meet one of the requirements that
the easy character creation.
Yeah, the ease of character creation. So one of the things in the blog is just like, hey, here's what makes it easy to do this. I won't say it's a requirement, but like you should be able to make a character in 15 minutes or less. It should be super easy. So I recommend OD&D. Like basic expert D&D,
right?
Old school essentials, any of that thing in that vein. And you're doing it with Rollmaster.
No, yeah, and I believe you had to wait an hour for someone to make their character last time that happened, right?
Well, if we had a mini game of upkeep or property management, if we had earned enough cash to start building strongholds, then we would have had something to do. So,
yeah, tacking more systems onto it doesn't sound easier for me as the person running the game, but I love it in theory.
But I'm only worried about my enjoyment. I'm a sensitive lover, and that's just okay.
No, don't let me stop. Don't let me stop you guys.
No, we want you to watch.
I was going to make a joke about beards, but we can move on. Troika, I did a little bit of that too, which I know my partner only has the energy to play games occasionally. So her being able to jump in and out was super cool and disability friendly, So there's a lot of advantages to it. I've done it a little bit also on Tuesday nights with Rollmaster. With the Swamp Weirdos or anybody that made a character. I was like, anybody can stop in for a couple hours of evening play that already has a character. We've got a magical swamp. You can just have an adventure that's slightly unsynced with time and memory. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And that's the attitude you got to bring into it. And I like that. I wanna emulate it. I want to run it, but then immediately, of course, as he mentioned, I thought about how would I do this with Shadowrun. I'm like, oh, you brave fool, you brave fool. Because I think he actually calls out Shadowrun's character creation system as one of the examples of, rolling stats and then picking a class or race, and you're good to go. Get some equipment. There we go. That's easy. That's low investment for someone that's never played before. Investing 100 character points is not low investment.
Or development points if it's Rollmaster.
Yes. Well, with the software. Okay, yeah, I'll stop.
What would be you guys' go-to systems for this kind of quick character creation, people jumping in and out situation?
Mine would be 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, because D&D Beyond is so easy to use, and you could just tell the people to make the character online, and it's the most accessible, most popular role-playing game out there. It's the one that's easiest for people to become system familiar with, and I think that that's where all the different things align in the best possible way. I don't know many people that have played old school D&D, present company excluded, of course, but there's a lot of new players out there whose entry point was 5th edition D&D. So I would just stick with that, because I figure that's the widest net to cast.
It makes sense.
I'm going to shock you and say probably an OSR game. I know this is unpredictable territory for the Jaunty Mantis. No, I really think, because the thing that got me thinking about is not necessarily system. I have so many rules light, quick creation character systems on this shelf that I've read and am familiar enough with that I think we could just be like, give me 30 minutes. Okay, let's go. But what got me then thinking about it is how could I extend the setting for this? What are the different campaign styles that work with this? Because I would say right now, hey, I could do it in Mouse Ritter. I could do it in Old School Essentials. Those mechanics aren't very different. You could do it in Morkborg. It's just going to be really fucking grim. But then I got to thinking, what different styles of play could you do beyond, because you need to have a stable base that people come back to. And that's the point at the end of the play session. They get back to that base, opening up the map for whoever's the next party to go through. So they need to have a central base, and there needs to be a place to go out and do adventures. There needs to be what is the play arc? We go and get treasure. That's what we do when we're playing. Or, we go on runs. And I think any of the sandboxy games from Sign Nominee could handle this. I think you could do it post-apocalypse with Ashes Without Number. I think you could do a cyberpunk game with Cities Without Number. I think the Traveler one I feel is maybe a little bit harder, but then not if there's all just crews working for the same organization.
Oppositional Defiance Disorder tells me now I have to do it in Traveler. That sounds awesome. I love Traveler. Let's make that happen.
Yes, dance puppets. I mean, sorry.
Got me.
Yeah, you could do it with Anglo-Saxons in the 7th century with wolves of God, like all working for the king
The
of
Star Trek
Northumbria.
suggestion in one of the articles I thought was excellent. Like I would totally be in a random away team on an episode, in one
Yep.
session.
And
I like that.
I've played that game, like the current one with the 2D20 system from Modiphius, and see previous episode about we can save him. Like he means well, but like they have a character creation system where you develop your character on the fly. Like as you are playing, they have rules like here's how you do this. They also, another recommendation from Justin Alexander was character creation systems with a life path. It has a life path system built in. And so that helps new players get into the vibe of their character.
What is a life path system?
A life path system is basically like a series of tables or choices to the different ages of your character's backstory to be like, this is what happened to you here. This is what happened to you here. So like when I made my Andorian himbo doctor captain for the Star Trek Adventures game I played in, like one of the things that he had experienced from the life path regularly was like there had been a tragedy where he had lost a friend. And I'm like, okay, what's a recreational thing where I lose a friend? I'm like, think of all the Star Trek I've watched. Rock climbing. So I had like a specialization in rock climbing because like I had lost a friend in a rock climbing accident. And it was a big part of my character's backstory and gave me this skill. So
giving big Sylvester Stallone in Cliffhanger. Is that right? Am I remembering the movie? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could you do this with pre-made characters, and then the pre-made characters are just randomly assigned or chosen?
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of pre-made characters
by your players, and I feel like might be cool too if they don't mind a little bit of extra homework is like making notes on like this is what this person did, this is how I played this character in this session, which I think would be fun to go back and read, like how so that you had like notes if you were taking over the character when somebody else was playing them beforehand.
That's the other idea that got me really excited about this from a different article on that same blog, where he was talking about running AI agents for like both the Infinity RPG and Eclipse phase, because you kind of have one as like a companion. And he said he would have somebody else at the table play that AI agent, but it could switch between games and they'd just say it was a software upgrade. And so the player that's playing the AI agent would like leave notes like on the back of the character sheet about what their personality or goals were. And so when you get assigned to play this AI agent, you look at the back of the character and there's some notes about what your personality and goals were before. And so you play to that, but you're obviously a different person. So it's going to come off same, but different. And I was just like, that would actually be amazing to do just as a player character experience. Like you have the same pool of player characters, but they're run by a host of different people who just leave these notes about what their motivations, thoughts, and feelings are that you try and play in. And I was like, that might be really fun.
I mean, you get that with a pre-made anyways, a lot of the time, some suggestions about their backstory or personality, goals, and just having the players before you in a long lineage add that could be hilarious if the players are up for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and getting to see another player at the table act out something that you wrote 3 sessions ago when you were playing that character would be super fun.
Yeah. Or to see something that came to fruition sessions later because of the actions of that character, which, that's kind of one of my questions about this style is like how much gets carried over from previous sessions. Is there a throughput on story? Is there a progressing storyline? Because, you look at one of the tenets of doing this, of like what an open table is, and, one of it is little or no prep. And so to me, that means like there's the mega dungeon, the hex crawl part of it, the monster tables, the encounter tables, stuff like that. You have simple goals, right? But what about like a preceding storyline? Like because you guys know as well as I do that your players are going to start to play their characters. Things are going to happen, consequences. You're going to remember things. You're going to make notes. And then whether you like it or not, you have a story happening in this style of play, even if that wasn't the point. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think that's the whole point of sandbox play. And I think this is very much sandbox play, is that the story is emergent rather than dictated, but it's never intended to be story free. How about you, Chris?
I can't help but trying to weave a deeper story. Like when I was doing the Skullport Inc. game or Skullport Unlimited, I was using Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which has, through lines through the book. I mean, you have to read and reread it to keep track of it all or look on a wiki. But it's hard not for them to kind of start figuring out that there's factions with plans and, secrets to discover and things going on. And then, I try to encourage people to give their characters some reason to be there, like why would you go risk your life in a seedy, underground city and venture into this mega dungeon? What is your motivation? And so inevitably they'll be looking to progress or, whatever that story is. What I was wondering though is like, if you don't lean too much into that, would there be a way to establish like relationships with like a new player character every session to where you have some like telenovela soap opera story brewing, perhaps instead of or in addition to the typical motivations in emergent storytelling, like, where whenever you're in a group with this person, something might come up or you might, reference them when they're not there in an interesting way, get some of that high school anime drama in there or something. Any thoughts on that?
My thought is I love it. Like, I think that should be baked into every character, like bond wise. Maybe you, if we're doing pre-mades, right, then I think that those should be specifically added in. And I think you should tie some experience element or power progression into it. Like if their characters are going to level up, if they were to do their own characters, maybe you establish bonds in the beginning. I don't know. But some sort of progression is then dependent on them fulfilling these. Like, I don't remember who came up with the idea, but I loved it, of like making the player characters enact bonds and story elements with each other when they're resting in order to get to the next day or to level up or to get to the next milestone. So I think that would be a cool thing. Like, cross off this part on your bingo cards, everybody. But in Baldur's Gate 3, when you go back to camp and they're all just kind of hanging out, and stuff, how do we feel about Astarion being a vampire? And you hear from different characters about that. If you want to go talk to them, I think that would be really cool to incorporate into this style of play. Like, because, if your home base was like a camp like that, it might be cool to start or finish or both each session or series of sessions with just talking to the other player characters, and seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
Players often love that kind of thing.
The ones who are worth it do.
Well, I love my older school, more tactical gamers too, but I want you to emote. Dang it. You get a bonus level if you make the DM cry.
I'm not making you cry.
Oh, damn.
Well, maybe in the end, Brother Brunt's heroic sacrifice.
I was going to throw this out there, jumping back a bit in the conversation, but D&D Beyond has a random character option, which they used to do on the official D&D podcast Dragon Talk when Kate Welch was guesting, and it was hilarious. They'd just come up with a backstory for the character based on the random choices, and it was always very entertaining. I would totally play any of the characters she came up with.
Random character, you say?
Yeah, I made a Drow half-elf sorcerer, level 3. I named him Benfamin. Because why not?
All right.
He has the background of a knight. I don't know what flavor sorcerer he is.
Man, I wish I knew this option existed. This is how I would have made all of my characters in the edition.
It's a life hack you just discovered. Tempestuous magic. Ooh, a wind speaker. Hell yeah.
Huh.
What does that mean when you grow up potentially in an underground society? I feel like you can be a good pathfinder if you can sense the movements of the air.
Yeah, if you can smell the good air or something like that.
I had one other question, like the way, especially the way Jesse's describing it, it's very hex crawl. Does it have to be a hex crawl? Do you have to begin and end in a common point, or can we can we start in media res and just skip right into some interesting part of the action or drama? And then I know like in Skullport, Inc., I was always trying to get it to like a satisfying conclusion. And towards the end of that run, I was like, all right, we're going to do a narrative wrap up. You tell me what your character does, knowing it's going to work in the coolest way. You know what I mean? We wrapped up a whole final battle with some drow from a noble house at one point, and everybody loved that session. I was like, we didn't even follow any of the D&D rules, and everybody's having a good time. Who knew?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of in media res. Like I was running an Eberron game that played every so often, and I began every new adventure with a cold open, which they absolutely loved, because I was really trying to like get that feel to it. So I'm a huge fan of that.
It's very Indiana Jones and Eberron, I picture,
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm all for it. I love the idea.
I think to me, I would want to be pretty strict with the going back to the main point if you're operating with a large player pool. Because to have some level of verisimilitude in the campaign, you need to have certain locations open. And the blog does a good job of explaining the timekeeping aspect of it. And so I think like you want people to be out, because one of the problems we had when I ran my lunch hour work game is when we would be in the session for the week in the middle of a thing. The next time we played, like I had a pool of like 12 players at peak, like it would not be the same people at all. Mm-hmm. And then so they'd be like, wait, where are we? What are we doing? And it's just easier to be like, you're in town. You're going to go after this today. Let's go. That
makes sense in that situation.
They have to get back. So I think if I had like a core of solid players, maybe I do that a little bit more. But if I'm working with a large group of seriously who wants to show up, I think I'd be fairly strict about imposing that end of session cap. I mean, did you guys see the part? Did you click on the link about the escaping the dungeon table?
No.
That's in part 3 of the essay. So like, it's basically at the end of your 3-hour play session. If they haven't left yet, you're like, okay, well, here's a table to see if you make it out.
Yeah. I like that. I feel like putting some kind of ending on the session is a bit of a requirement in a rotating cast situation. Otherwise, I mean, there might be a creative way to handle it if you don't like have a player that was present at that previous session that didn't end satisfyingly, give like a quick narrative wrap up to the other players, like ideally in character and in conversation. And it's like, well, if you show up for the next one, you get to cap it. You get to decide how it finished.
Yep.
How would we do that? Like the 3 of us are experienced game mothers in our own right. So like, how would you make sure you do that every session?
Get to the ending or start the next one?
Yeah. Like you only have a certain amount of time and things rarely ever work out the way that they're supposed to. So like, would you have some built-in way to put them back at base camp? Or I don't know, like let's say it involves a mega dungeon and it's an underground temple of some sort and there's a curse on the temple. And when the idol or whatever reaches the zenith of the altar and the moonlight comes through or whatever, then the curse comes back into effect and they have to get the fuck out of there. Like that's what I would do off the top of my head. But what's the standard? Is that the standard for this style of play? Otherwise, how do you handle that?
I mean, I think if you're running it with a more traditional like mega dungeon, you would basically be like looking at the clock, like, hey guys, we got 30 minutes left. You might want to think about exfiltrating. Like,
yeah,
like time to get the fuck out.
And
so I personally, I don't want to play through
they roll on the table.
Exfiltration. Yeah, the table's a great solution for if you're doing like a strict dungeon crawl. But like, I don't know, when I'm playing in that session, I'm going to know where they're going probably. I don't want to find out when we start the session. That's really hard to run. Not impossible, but not optimal, I wouldn't think. But, knowing where they're going to go, I'm going to have some ideas of potential satisfying conclusions or what the ending action might be. And then I think you have to kind of lazy DM, sly flourish, Mike Shea that, and just start skipping stuff, cutting ahead. You've completed searching this room or wrapping up battles, quickly shaving hit points off, whatever you got to do to make sure that you do at least get to the pinnacle of that final fight or getting past that trap or whatever, making sure you get somewhere where stopping makes sense.
Yeah. There's a tendency, believe it or not, that I would want to make this harder on myself than it needs to be. And I would want to do that instead of a mega dungeon being a series of fancy dress parties taking place in this cosmopolitan section of this fantasy city. And I would, could be as easy as like, you just get super drunk by the and so when we reach a certain point, I'm like, you guys are drunk. You can't stay here, but you got to go home. The more I think about it, I don't know if it really has to be a big ordeal to get them back to base camp. You could just say you have to go back to base.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you got a timer for a Shadowrun if you're doing a cyberpunk one. You could put a resource counter on it if you needed a story thing, if you're doing any sort of like survival post-apocalyptic one, or say like a Dark Sun game in this style. By the way, I looked up the table for escaping the dungeon.
Oh,
and there's a bunch of modifiers based on like the average like level of if you're level 7 of the dungeon, if you're using a mega dungeon, because back in the old days it mattered, the levels, they got tougher as you went down. Like there's a modifier, but basically the situation is you run out of time for play. There's three basic states. You don't know where you are, you know where you are, or you have a clear and unhindered path of escape. So if your PCs don't know where they are in the dungeon because they've failed at mapping, there's a 25% chance of escape. If they know where they are, but maybe there's not necessarily a clear way out, they have a 50% chance of escape. And if they have a clear and unhindered path, it's a 75% chance of escape. And then if you fail, there's a table that's a D10. 1, you escape unharmed. 10, opportunity for betrayal. You can choose to either reroll on this table or betray a comrade who would otherwise escape. If you choose to betray a comrade, roll 1d6. On a roll of 1 to 4, you escape, and they must roll on this table. On a roll of 5 to 6, both you and your victim suffer the fate they roll.
I love it.
It's fairly cutthroat kind of classic dungeon crawling, I feel like.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to that because I do think that the emergent play stories that could come up are pretty fun. Yeah. Critiques to this system? Anything that makes you hesitant or wary about it?
I don't know about hesitant or wary about it, but I would be very curious to hear from someone who's done this for a substantial amount of time. Whatever that looks like, I don't know. Like we were talking about, Chris, you're probably the closest to have done something like this for what I think what you said was like 12 sessions or the equivalent
for that
thereof.
Campaign, and then limited in more current ones. But yeah.
So, I would really be curious, and maybe the audience can help us out with this by leaving a comment in this YouTube video, this web zone, or this wherever you found this podcast. Like if anybody's done this, I want to hear about it. So jauntymantis@gmail.com. Keep it brief, but like I would I'm leery about it. I think this would be a great way to do a group reset if your group fell apart, or if you want to branch out. Like if you're have a table that's just not working out for you, or you don't have enough people to play, you reach out to your friends. You're like, hey, I'm doing this thing. We're going to do it for 6 total sessions or 12 total sessions or whatever. And whoever can show up, should show up. This might be a great way to find some extra nerds who you are really compatible with for a new group. So I think anything that helps nerds be more social is a benefit, but I'm very leery about the long-term potential of it.
Yeah, I think one of the things he mentions too is like I've recruited a whole bunch of people for my long-running direct story campaigns from the player pool I've built through this. I think the goal of this is like, yeah, it's not necessarily we're this tight-knit group telling this shared story. It's like, this can just be a spontaneous social thing. Like, you guys want to do some D&D real quick? Yeah, sure. Bust out the character sheets. Let's go.
Right.
That's my critique of it. I know if you've been listening to this, you're like, why hasn't anybody said West Marches yet? Well, dear listener, I've thought of that. The difference between this and a West Marches campaign is the DM is doing the organizing. Or sorry, Game Mother is doing the organizing. In West Marches, players do the organizing. And I will be honest, having attempted a West Marches campaign, I don't believe that your average group of players could organize a piss up in a brewery. So... that
was part of what made my hacking game wind down. It was just like, I need people to get back to me on scheduling. They can't even do that. Like, okay.
Even I, like the most up for it guy you will ever meet for playing some Dungeons and fucking Dragons, failed to do that. And I had a cool character.
Scheduling is the scariest monster you can fight in a dungeon.
Mm-hmm. I was also dealing with the existential angst of the COVID lockdown, two small children and not having a job. So sorry. But yeah, I think this does put a load on the DM. And I know Justin Alexander on the blog is just like, yeah, I can just do it with no prep. Like that dude is like,
he could do it with no prep.
Is like Ace Pro running old school adventures. Like he's just like, yeah, I've got the rules for like encounter memorized and like 30 different monster tables in my head and whatever, like it's fine. And I'd love to get there, but I'm not there yet. So this is going to take some lift on the DM's part. Not the lift I think of maybe as much as writing out a full campaign, but you're going to have to like read a mega dungeon or a hex crawl or start reading pre-written adventure modules, something I know you hate doing, Matt. So like, yeah, I think to there is prep to get you to the point where you can do this effortlessly. That is maybe not included in the description on the blog. I think also for it to really have that emergent play experience, someone's going to need to keep track of how the game state is changing as a result of the adventures and publish that. And keeping track of it if you're running the game, I don't see that being a problem because you need to run the game, but being responsible for publishing it like out there, like this, the tower of the witch of, the evil eye has been explored. And,
I had some players do that in the hacking Skullport game, but I think I need to gate like, if you want to get paid, you have to send your after action report back to head office. Also, if you want to level up, you got to do your paperwork. Sorry, TPS reports, I need cover sheets. It's just the way it is.
I love it.
That's a really great idea.
I alluded to this at the beginning of the episode, but I've been, trying to think of a way to still run games for our regular group that Jesse and I have on Sundays without involving a lot of prep, without charting out massive campaign and story and involving everybody's characters' backstories. And after reading this article, I've thought about doing like a variation of this theme in vignettes where instead of it being every session, I say, hey, I'm going to be running a game. It's going to be 3 to 5 sessions. It's going to be like a vignette pulp episodic style of play. We roll it. We do each session if we have 3 or more people, and I cap it at 6, and it's open to all the different nerds I know in my life. So if you don't get in on this one, you could get in on the next one, and we do them in blocks like that. What do you guys think of like amending this or altering it to do it that way, where it's in blocks of 3 to 5 sessions instead of every session?
I don't have a great name for that because we have one shots and we have campaigns. I'll sometimes say, we're just going to play a season of something or a mini series. But I love that because lower commitment. And then if people love it, you can always extend it or revisit it later.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're actually doing that with the game Lauren's running for 5e, that a one shot that she wrote for when we were all at Gen Con together that of course we didn't get to play because by the time we got home from the con every night, we were utterly exhausted and just like, look at my pile. Okay, I'm going to sleep now. I walked 7 miles today carrying 30 pounds of books. But we want to really like appreciate her doing the work for it. So we got to schedule, and it's now we're going to go into our third session for it. And people really like the dumb little characters we've made and just like the jokes we're playing. So it's, this one shot has become a 3-shot. And I think you can hope that would happen. I think the challenge to that, are you talking within that 3 to 5 session arc, having it be open sign up, or is there someone signing up for that 3 to 5 session arc?
The latter. You sign up for the arc. So you sign up to play in 3 to 5 sessions, and then it's a new sign up.
I like that, and I've considered doing it myself.
I feel like I'd want to do the full-on open table to get a big pool and then offer that to that large pool and see who can commit, and then, have a frank conversation about time commitments. Because, like, I love the baseball metaphor in the original blog article. Like, hey, do you want to learn how to play baseball on our team? Like, sure. What's it take? Well, we're going to practice 3 hours a night once a week. And then games are on Saturday. So you'll need to be that. Like, and people are like, oh, no, maybe I don't want to play baseball. Like, me, enough. I'm in, but like, I'm not the problem with scheduling as an adult for D&D games.
Well, but like, how much scheduling? So to play devil's advocate here, I don't feel like there will be a lot of scheduling involved, because I think at the very least, if I put it in this Sunday spot that we do, right, then I know I have you and I have Patrick and I have, the other people in our group, right? But then I could open up to Chris and other people, in our tangential circles, or I could be like, hey, if you know somebody that's looking to roll some dice, let's pop them in, and make it like a capped 6 or 7 people sign up. I don't know. But as long as I know I have the core, and I will, because I have my regular gaming group involved. If this was a separate satellite game, then I could totally see your point. But I'm just doing this as a buffer between Patrick's Chaos Earth Rifts game, a complete role-playing game, and Jesse's 4E Dark Sun game, because people need breaks,
Oh yeah, I was excited about that 2 weeks ago.
I figured you needed to be reminded about it.
He's 3 campaigns deep now.
Yeah, that was like 4 campaign ideas ago, Matt. Like, you see, last week I had this 32-ounce steak. Oh.
Is that a vampire joke?
No, that's a listen to our Draw Steel review when it comes out.
Or don't.
Or don't, yeah. We're not tyrants here at the Jaunty Mantis.
If you don't listen to it, I'll be deeply and personally upset. Thank you.
I wonder how this works with story games. I'm sold, by the way, Matt. Sorry, my brain went somewhere else, but I'm sold. 3 to 5. I still think there's going to be a challenge of getting people to commit 3 to 5. Like, I mean, you're going to need to have that understanding with them that I think you do with a regular weekly game of like, hey, sure, if we have at least this many people, we're going to go without you.
Right.
Like, and
I think that would only be fair.
Yeah.
I think that alleviates a lot of pressure to the people who aren't going to end up showing up, It's like if you've ever tried to get into one of those dating softball leagues, which I really don't recommend. There's, the thing in dating culture where it's like, hey, a bunch of singles are going to sign up for this dating softball league where you meet people. And when you start out, like people who really are into each other and like each other start fucking, and then they stop going to the softball games, and then you don't have a team anymore. So, but everybody kind of knows that. Everybody keeps fucking signing up for it for some reason, even if you're really not good at sports, like some people on this podcast, or at least me, I should say. So I feel like it would be like that. Like, we all kind of have an understanding that some of us are going to stop showing up to the team game and start fucking each other. Wait a minute. What were we talking about?
I don't know, but those aren't sports ball trophies behind me. Those are magic cards and RPG maps. So wasn't me.
I'm just baffled to learn that softball dating is a thing that exists in the world.
That explains why some people I know participate in softball. Maybe I'm gonna have to ask.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was pre-pandemic, so
different times.
That's why all those young people were out playing softball at that park in Chicago. I used to walk by every once in a while.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. The world is a strange and mysterious place.
Up yours, young people.
I used to be one of them, and now I am not. And now I want to run. I have so many mega dungeons. I'm curious how this would work with more narrative-based games. I don't see it being a particular challenge or hard, but like if I was gonna do Shadowrun, like I would do Shadowrun Anarchy, which is very, very narrative based. I would not, even with pre-made characters, I would not want to do this with Shadowrun 6th World or 5th Edition or for any of the things where you roll a giant handful of D6s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing missions in Shadowrun though, typically, right?
Yeah, no, I think it works great. Like,
Yeah.
you know, this pool of runners gets this mission assignment and you go. I would have been intimidated to find enough pre-published like runs to do this before, but now I have Cities Without Number from Kevin Crawford that just has the mission generator table. It's like chunk dice. Okay, I've got a mission. Here's the brief. Let's go. And you know, maybe I just do it in Cities Without Number. I mean, like all those Kevin Crawford games would be great.
Is this week's campaign idea? Are we going? Let's do it.
This might be this week's campaign idea that'll never get launched.
I feel like we need a jingle.
This week's campaign idea.
Bling.
We'll workshop it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a really interesting thing. I think more people should play tabletop role-playing games. I actually had this weird thing where we having like a philanthropy fair, and like I met the people from Boys and Girls Club, and I was like, "Do you have anybody that runs D&D for the kids?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, like this might work for that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. When I briefly, it was for 2 school years, volunteered at a middle school running D&D with their D&D club, or teaching kids to make characters and run it. It was only an hour, but man, it was an interesting hour. Let me tell you. Thankfully, I can handle just about any gaming table for about an hour. But they're little chaos monsters. They show up randomly, even more so than the adults, I feel like. And you just kind of roll with it, you know?
That's cool. Awesome.
All right. Any final thoughts on the Open Table Manifesto? I'm a fan.
Works for me. Yeah.
I was going to do it anyway, so it's good to read someone with more experience and get their takes on it.
Yeah. Roll 7, by the way, on the failed escapes as you have been transformed into a monster, undead, lycanthrope, mind controlled, etc. Like there's some pretty fun ones on there. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I can keep playing my character though, right?
Sure. Maybe, hey, you know, get out the cipher system and bust out that Bane Warrens.
Oh my God. Yeah, the problem with the cipher system is I have to teach the cipher system, which after our Draw Steel episode, this is why I was like, you know, because of the shortage of time, I feel like this either has to be Dungeon World or Dungeons and Dragons 5e, because I have the most amount of system familiarity with those 2 games outside of D&D 3.x, which I won't subject anyone to unless they really to. You know, I don't kink shame on this podcast. So, you know, that's what I would rather do, you know.
I don't think Cypher is that much of a burden to teach. I mean, I taught the kids with No Thank You Evil, which is Cypher system. Like it's like you got a spender, your hit point, you have 3 hit point pools, they're spenders. If I say a number, multiply it by 3, that's what you're rolling higher than.
I know what some of those words mean.
But you know what's easier to teach than that? Create a 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons character in D&D Beyond. Here's the link, and I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Oh, speaking of which, I would like to introduce the world original character Do Not Steal to Malexius, a bugbear monk of the Way of Mercy with the Far Traveler background. Wow. He is a wanderer from a strange land where bugbears are generally kind and peaceful. They love nothing more than to heal a wound, to soothe a hurt, and place their big hairy palms on yours and tell you it's going to be okay. And Malexius wanders the earth, striking evil with his fists of justice and also healing the sick.
Healing punches.
And occasionally performing as a sideshow attraction for nobles and getting a free dinner out of it because they're interested because he's a far wanderer.
Yeah, love that random character generator.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a shot once my 6 out of 6 slots are one of those slots are open.
Oh, I got the little wizard. It's party time. Look at him. He's flashing. I don't know what that means. Do you guys know what that means on D&D Beyond when the little wizard icon is on the character sheet flashing and it says it's party time?
Jesse, what have we asked you to do? Stop taking LSD before we start recording.
And I have said, no, you're not my supervisor. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, guys. This was fun to talk about, and I look forward to experimenting. Well, maybe we'll do some feedback in a couple episodes about what Chris has actually done, because I'm all talk and no follow through.
Hey, we might have a session tomorrow night. Stay posted. Keep your phone ready.
Ooh, a Tuesday. Yes. Intriguing. Well, this has been the Jaunty Mantis, a podcast of creative questions for curious gamers. If you liked what you heard, help us out and leave us a review at wherever you heard it. That can be on Apple Podcasts. That could be on Spotify. That could be in the YouTube below. Hey, and I'm not going to say it.
Like and subscribe, 5-star review. Give us to a friend. Give the gift of the Jaunty Mantis this holiday system by telling a friend about the show, because we ain't charging anything for it. So tell someone about it.
It's technically content.
Technically content indeed.
Well, I'll give you at least one dopamine, probably.
Plus one dopamine
from this. Oh my God.
That should be the next t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Plus one
Jaunty
dopamine.
Mantis plus one dopamine.
Or dopamine plus one.
Even better.
Oh, okay. See, this is the kind of content that you get only from the Jaunty Mantis. And if you pledge now, you'll get a free Prairie Home Companion tote bag. And get out there and play some fucking role-playing games.
Do it.
Or don't.
I definitely did.
Oh, wait, it's on me to stop recording, right?
Yeah.
Here we go.